El pretérito de los verbos, meaning the preterite of the verbs in Spanish. Um, this lesson is designed for students who have a good knowledge already of conjugations and in Spanish in the present tense. And usually this lesson is for students who are in level 1 at the end of level 1 in high school, or most likely in level 2 in high school as well. This lesson is designed to teach students the basic foundation of how to conjugate using what we call el pretérito in the preterite in Spanish, and it's one of the past tenses we have in Spanish. So I'll go over the information and I'll show you today how to do the conjugation of regular. Today we're going to consider only regular conjugations, and there will be another video of this kind or presentation of this kind that will go over the past tense of some irregular verbs. Alright, el pretérito. It is a past tense, and this is the ending ed in English, which could be considered a normal or regular conjugation in English. But also it could be conjugated as some irregulars in English as well, and I'll provide some examples of later on of what I mean by that. It talks about what happened in the past, so obviously we're talking about events in the past tense that happened. And although we need to contrast later on with another past tenses that we have in Spanish, we need to keep in mind that preterit talks about completed actions in the past, and that's what we're going to keep it for now. In another lesson, we will consider the imperfect tense, in which we need to contrast preterit and imperfect. But for today, we just make sure we need to understand that it is a completed action in the past. Some examples in English are: I talked to my friend, and obviously that ed ending in English is considered a regular conjugation. We have I bought a shirt, and that will be an irregular in English, but in Spanish that will be a regular conjugation. And then we have I paid in cash, which in English is also an irregular conjugation, but in Spanish could be a regular in some forms. Let's consider now some of the conjugations we need to go over here. The stem for regular verbs in the preterit or pretérito is the infinitive stem that we have learned before for the present tense. So it's the same thing we need to keep in mind here when we do the conjugation. Let's take, for instance, the following infinitives. To take or to drink in Spanish is tomar, and what we need to do is remove the AR ending and then come up with the stem that we need to form the preterite tense. We also have to talk, hablar, and again you'll see the ending AR. We remove the ending and we come up with the stem we need to conjugate in the preterite. Another example is to eat, comer, and then we remove the ER. And we have to drink, beber, and that's the stem we need. And we have to open, abrir, which is an IR, and we remove the IR, and then we end up with the stem that we need for the conjugation as well. Finally, we have to leave, salir, and also we remove the IR, and we come up with the stem we need for the conjugation. So every infinitive in Spanish has 3 endings only. Every verb has 3 endings: AR, ER, and IR. And students in level 1 should know this by now. Okay, here are the endings we need. So preterite endings for AR will be the following. We have aste, o, amos, astes, and aron. This is again for regular conjugations in the past tense preterite. Let's consider now the endings we have for ER and IR. We have iste, yo, imos, istes, and hieron. So what we do is we take those stems that we talked about before, and I'll provide some examples soon, and then we replace the infinitives that we removed with the endings to correctly conjugate in Spanish and form the past tense that we're talking about here. One thing to remember here is that we need accents on the yo form of the él, ella, usted. So we need accents on 2 forms on this conjugation, in the yo form and also in the él, ella, usted form. And also I don't know if some of you noticed the following, but AR and IR and the nosotros form is the same in the present and in the preterite. So, and when I'll go over some examples, I'll refer to that soon. All right, por ejemplo. So, for example, we have AR and we have the following: hablar, which means to talk. That's the infinitive in English and also in Spanish. Now we need to put this in the past tense, saying I talked, you talked, he or she or you formal in Spanish talked. We talked, you all in Spain, which is the vosotros conjugations, talked, and they or you formal, you all formal also talked. So in Spanish will be, when you saying I talked, will be hablé, you talked, hablaste, he or she or you formal talked, habló, hablamos, we talked, you all in Spain, hablasteis, and then we have hablaron, which means ellos, ellas, ustedes, they, and also the you all formal plural hablaron. So this is a perfect example here of how the conjugation works. We remove the AR ending and then we replace it with the correct endings to form that conjugation we want. Some examples here also that we have for AR is tomar, to drink or to take. And then here, the context here is to drink. So you need to say, when you're saying I drank in Spanish, is tomé, tomaste, tomó, tomamos, tomasteis, and tomaron. So you should know by now the subject pronouns that will go along with each one of the conjugations. Notice how I said before that tomamos also is the same for the present tense in the past tense. And how do we know which one is the one we're using? Well, in context of the conversation, we'll know if we're talking about an event in the present tense or an event in the past tense. Some examples here we have for the ER and IR will be comer, to eat. Comí, comiste, comió, comimos, comisteis, comieron. So I ate, you ate, he or she or you formal ate, we ate, you all ate. In Spain, and they ate, or you all formal too ate. Another example we have here is abrir, to open. And for abrir, again, we remove the IR and we replace it with the correct endings. Y, iste, yo, imos, isteis, yeron. Abrí, abriste, abrió, abrimos, abristeis, abrieron. So this is a basic lesson or presentation that talks about then how to conjugate in the past tense preterit for regular conjugations for AR, ER, and IR. In another lesson, also, I will consider some groups that we have in Spanish that are irregular, that don't follow the rules that we talked about here. They have some changes. But that will be in the second video of this conjugation. And that's all for then the conjugation here.